Gentlemen, thank you for standing by. At this time, I would like to thank you for joining today's webcast, HAPO Credit Union Modernizes Human Resources and Payroll. All have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. I need to introduce our host for today's call, Mr. Bob Moser, Senior Director at eVerge Group. Mr. Moser, you may begin your conference.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everybody. I guess depending upon where you are, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar with HAPO Community Credit Union. This is obviously their story. We want to allow them the opportunity to talk about their HCM Cloud modernization. Just real quick, a little bit about myself and eVerge Group, kind of set some context there. Again, my name is Bob Moser. I'm a Senior Director within our HCM Cloud practice, eVerge Group. And I spend a lot of time with HCM Cloud customers, with opportunities and organizations, discussing the strategic implementation strategy around migrating to the HCM Cloud or the Oracle HCM Cloud solution. So a little about eVerge Group and how we fit into this conversation today. We are we're HAPO's systems implementation or integration partner and help them throughout their journey moving to the HCM Cloud solution. Look at eVerge Group. We've been in business now for about 25 years, headquarters out of Dallas, Texas. We are a Oracle Global Platinum Cloud Select partner. I think just as importantly, though, we've been deploying successfully Oracle Cloud applications and solutions for the last 13 years. We're actually an HCM Cloud customer and have been for the last 4 years. And so we actually run internally the entire HCM Cloud solution, including payroll. So we've been through not only the implementation internally, but for the last 3 years, all the different open enrollments and payroll processing year-end events. So everything that a lot of our customers go through, we've been through and continue to have the benefits of the HCM Cloud solution. eVerge Group does a lot more than just HCM Cloud. We also focus in practices around ERP, sales, marketing, business analytics, master data management, much more. We're just a recognized go-to partner within the Oracle Systems Integration community. We've been recognized many times over, as you do with our 2015 Excellence Award there. So a bit about eVerge, and at this point, I think I want to introduce the team over at HAPO Credit Union. First, we have Dolores Broski, the Senior Vice President in Human Resources. We also have today Angelique Short, who's our generalist at HAPO, and Gorka Gavrik, who's our payroll administrator with HAPO as well. So say hello, team.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Excellent. All right. Well, before they jump in and start to tell their story, just a quick setup here on the agenda for today. Obviously, we want to talk about the overview, right, from a project, from a G perspective, some of the challenges that HAPO Community Credit Union facing, where they used to be, software and business process perspective, some of the solutions, right, that they've recognized and realized by deploying HCM Cloud set, some topics and points around the execution of the implementation, lessons learned, takeaways, those type of items, and we'll follow it up with audience questions. So we do ask that you hold your questions to the end of the presentation, and we'll address them at that point. With that said, I'm going to now turn this over to Dolores from HAPO and her talk a little about the journey that HAPO started and kind of where they were and go from there.
Okay, Bob. HAPO Community Credit Union, a little bit of history on us. We're a $1.4 billion organization, and we offer a variety of financial services, to include a commercial lending division in 2017. We pride ourselves in being a great place to work, and we value our employees' contributions at every level. We're headquartered in Richland, Washington, and we've experienced exceptional growth over the past 5 years. We have almost 360 employees working across 16 different locations in 2 different states. We have a clear vision moving forward for driving growth that includes exceeding our member and our employee expectations. We call it, we want to defy expectations in everything that we do. So the next slide shows a picture. This kind of depicts, it's an awesome shot of some of our employees, kind of showing off some of our innovation in our branches. We have these iSnap machines that we take pictures, members can take pictures. We take them to community events that we sponsor in our community, and through this iSnap machine we're able to upload images to Facebook and Instagram and other social media sites. But the picture really is on here to depict a large portion of our workforce, which is millennials. We're trying to engage our employees. And we conduct internal polls and engagement surveys that show us time and time again, just like our members, that they want to be communicated with. They want to be part of their employment. They want to be part of their opportunities at work. They want to be informed, whether it's through mobile, online, through texting, all different kinds of avenues. And so today, most employees in general, I think, want of their employment journey. And so part of that is a reason that we also were looking to change our system, to change a new HCM system. So we can forward. Slide just talks about our strategic goals a little bit. About 4 years ago, our board and our leadership team got together and we painted a big vision to grow our market share, to expand organically and through searching out potential merger partners to grow as well. So recognize that in order to be successful, that to be able to engage that workforce we just talked about. So part of our engagement strategy was to start looking for a central place where our employees could easily access their information. The key component was we needed to build a solid database or a foundation that would support our growth into the future. So at the time, we had super manual processes. Everything was paper-based, just about. We worked through multiple software systems such as Sage, which was our payroll system, Excel, Word, PDF. We had Halogen that also we did all of our performance reviews through, none of which integrated together. So we weren't efficient, to say the least, because everything was done so manually. We had issues with data accuracy, keeping information updated. Our reporting wasn't that great. And we also had a number of compliance issues to consider. As a financial industry, we have a lot of regulatory training that's required of our staff, and we had no way to show that we were doing that or to prove it. And so our leadership team just got together and we said, we need to find one system that will do everything for us. So after talking with multiple vendors and looking at all the different options out there, we selected Oracle as our solution, and we felt that the core modules that we chose would requirements and help us into the future as we grew. So as this picture shows, it kind of shows the whole range of scalable services that we selected. And so you wonder, why did we choose HCM Cloud? Mostly because of the range of options they had. It had a rich foundation for our HR information, one central place that we could put everything. Another really important thing for us was, what a lot of systems didn't offer, was a training module. Another software we looked at, we were going to have to get something separate for our training piece. So Oracle satisfied that need for us. And we really believe this will really support our scale for growth and change into the future. Also, having one point of entry was a really important thing for us. And Angelique, who led the core HR implementation process internally, she'll give us more detailed overview of how that worked here in just a few minutes. So then talk a little bit about our partnering with eVerge and how we came about with that. We signed our contract with Oracle, and they actually gave us several vendors or potential vendors to look at for us to interview. And we ultimately chose to partner with eVerge. And why did we choose them? Well, there's lots of different reasons, but we called references that they provided. We had really good positive feedback on them. They also had some experience with the Fusion Payroll product, which we were going to implement, which was really important to us, and because it was a fairly new product. And also, they had a personalized touch that we felt comfortable with. We partnered with them. Our results have been excellent. They've been super responsive to our needs, have been instrumental in helping us learn the system. And so, also to mention that Oracle made it we had a success manager, which was dedicated to us the whole time through. We signed up with Oracle. It felt like they were such a big organization that we might get kind of lost in the mix of things, but Joel, our success manager, he stayed engaged with us, made the process easy in accessing Oracle. If we had issues or whatnot, he could escalate those for us. And between the two with eVerge and Oracle, it's been a pretty seamless project.
All right, thank you, Dolores, for the review. Let's talk about implementation approach. It's always a hot question, right, on the decisions that have been made as far as the software, your systems integration partner. Really, the next step was we sat down with Doris and the team at HAPO and talked about not only all of the implementation specifics around resources and scope, but on timeline and the approach. How do we deploy the HCM Cloud solution? I think as you saw previously, when Dolores was showing the overall footprint of functionality, honestly, at the end of the day, they've implemented pretty much the entire solution set of Oracle HCM Cloud. So, with that in mind, when we started talking about the approach, we really look at the organization itself and how are they going to be able to staff a project, with the required resources that are going to be needed. Look at existing footprints from systems standpoint. Are there any existing contracts? Are there any existing annual business processes that we need to consider as we kind of lay out the overall implementation timeline and approach? So those are all the questions that, as a team, we sat down, reviewed, answered to come up with an eventual timeline. And I think it's fair. I'll let Dolores kind of expand on this a little bit, but at the end of the day, this is the timeline that we actually ended up deploying the solutions with from a phasing standpoint. Phasing is very critical. If you can see here, we actually focused on the recruit, onboard, and functionality first. So those three modules, if you will, went live towards September, early October of 2015. At the same time, right, we kind of staggered a start to focus on what I'll call foundational functionality, right, core HR, benefits, automated benefits, and payroll. So you can see sort of the timeline and the footprint there for that functionality that did go live January 1, 2016. And I think one of the takeaways and lessons learned that the HAPO team will expand on here in a few minutes was, from a resource standpoint, I think we had a little bit more of an aggressive initial phasing for HR benefits and payroll. But at the end of the day, the resources within the HAPO team were also busy doing their regular job, so the timeline did get expanded out to an additional 3 months to go live on 1/1 of 2016. So there's a lot of initiatives underway right now in 2016. I think we're actually wrapping most of these up around the talent management functionality. So those performance, workforce comp, talent review, and succession planning. Most of that functionality has been deployed so far this year in 2016, and I know that the team HAPO has plans for more uptaking more enhancements, more functionality, especially around mobile. but we'll let Dolores and the team put their input on the overall approach and timeline. So Dolores?
Yeah, I just wanted to also add in there that definitely eVerge helped us keep on task with the timelines, but they were flexible when we needed it to modify. Like you said, we're all busy. We all wear different hats. We've got hands in lots of different things, and so at times it felt like we aren't going to be able to get this done, and we were encouraged to meet deadlines, and if we really couldn't do it, then we, like he said, we were able to extend the time frame a little bit. They worked with us well in that way. A part of this implementation that I really appreciated is every week we had a status meeting throughout the whole entire process just to keep us informed of the progress of the project, kind of any major hurdles that we were looking at, if we had any issues, the status of work goes through, any important dates we need to know about, and we were always in the know, if you will, about our project. We also conducted mini workshops where actually in there doing the work, not just watching a presentation of the work, which was super helpful. And another thing that eVerge did for us was they provided us with extensive testing scripts. So we literally walk through step by step and do these things. You know, when you take on a project like this in a brand new system, it felt like we were entering a big black hole because we didn't know, it was so foreign to us. As we got more comfortable, these testing scripts have been invaluable to us. In fact, we designed a lot of our management and our employee training off of these scripts that were provided, which was super helpful. So we weren't, creating it from scratch. And that, I'm going to turn it over to Angelique, who's going to talk a little bit about our implementation process, too, as being the lead person in fronting that. So, Angelique?
Thank you, Dolores. Like Dolores had mentioned earlier, all of the HR processes were completely manual before Oracle. Our employee information was in several different places. Management had no access to their employee information or even what their pay was at the time without calling HR. So we were constantly having to give out this information and start each process. Oracle has given us a single point of access, and with the eVerge team, this has allowed us to customize and simplify processes and workflows. Not only can our managers access the system, they can initiate all employee changes and updates. This includes pay increases, job promotions, title changes, every single employee type transaction that we have. Employees also have the ability to go in and update their personal information, which they would have to HR, and we would initiate that process before. Expanded access by managers and employees, the HR involvement has gone from manual processing to monitoring and approving all our HCM transactions electronically. For example, in any given month, we may process up to 30 individual pay increases. This has required us to fill out a physical form, have it completed, then signed off by multiple individuals. The HR team would input into the payroll system, in which we would scan that form to our payroll team for audit, then to be filed in the employee's personnel folder. It is managed through an electronic workflow that we customized in Oracle to meet our needs and also function as an accurate audit trail. This has saved us a numerous amount of time. This is one simplified process. We have plenty more scenarios just like this we could go over today. I already realized a significant amount of time savings, allowing us to work more on our employee engagement programs rather than manage every single transaction that's happening. Before Oracle, all our analytic and tracking of employees was very cumbersome and time extensive. With Oracle's option of reporting functionality in Oracle, we already saved time and increased our ability to access data points we never had before. It's just at fingertips. It's in the time that we have saved now looking up this data. We'll take a moment also and go over with our training and learning development that we implemented. We've named it our HAPO Hub. We've had a lot of fun introducing it to employees and have received a lot of great feedback from our employees. We have signing up for training classes, manual process, access through our intranet. You would sign up for a session by adding your name to an Excel spreadsheet. Tracking was very weak and open to human error and a very daunting task for the training department. The HAPO created a centralized portal where training is easily assigned to individuals, employees, or either group, employees based on specific job functions or roles. Training can be tracked and managed by managers to ensure all cross-training is being conducted. We have the ability to create tests based of course criteria as well. Employees are able to easily access their own transcripts, sign for extra training, giving them ownership of their learning and development and meet deadlines for required regulatory training. Managers now can easily access to and see exactly what their employees, what training they've had. Before, there was a lot of search calling the training department to check, and now managers have all this access. I'd now give it over to Gortza so she can share a bit more about the integrated payroll process.
Thank you, Malik. From a payroll perspective, we needed a system that allowed full control, in-house processing, and Oracle was the only vendor that we looked at that allowed us that control without needing to send employee-sensitive files back and forth. What used to take 2 employees about 2 business days to process payroll now takes 1 employee with a backup to do the same process. And so it's cut time in half. For a switch, there were many manual processes and reports run. For example, incentive payouts and payroll deductions, especially during benefits open enrollment, were input one by one for more than 200 employees, leaving room for an error and taking several hours at a time. And with batch loader, it takes 5 to 10 minutes. And another big thing for us was costing. That used to be a very manual process. We would start it in Excel, and then we would have to input each entry individually into our accounting software. Now it's a simple report that is run and uploaded directly into our accounting software, ensuring that we accurately offset all of our general accounts. From a standpoint, all tax calculations have been automated, which used to be manually calculated. One example is our Washington workers' comp tax. That is a unique tax compared to other states due to it being calculated off of hours worked versus wages. Excuse me. Our former system did not do this, so we have to run a for every single department and then have to multiply it by our rate for that year to figure out how much we needed to accrue for it. Overall, comparing before Oracle to now, our process is significantly automated and simplified. I'm just going to share a few nuggets of advice now from what we've learned as we went through this process.
Well, I think like we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, super important to prioritize the project, to have goals that dates that your deadlines that you have to meet, but the prioritization is really important, which I would suggest designating leads early on if you can. Again, I know for us, we are a team of 3 at the time. We now have 4, but at the time it was 3, and it was hard to decide that time, but we had to do that. I'd include IT early if you can. That resource was really invaluable to us. There was a lot of information that I couldn't articulate. I'm not an IT person with Oracle, but also somebody that has SQL background was really important. Again, was instrumental in this. If we really truly hadn't have partnered, I don't even know where we would have started. They really helped guide us through it and keep us on track, and so that was really important. And also being realistic. Your scope, your timing. I think Bob mentioned earlier that we were really aggressive in our approach initially. We're like, oh, we can get this piece done in 3 weeks. Well, we soon realized that we were more realistic because we wanted to not only get it done, but we wanted it to be quality and be right. Another thing it did that I'm happy when I thought about the best practices piece for us is it really made us chart our processes and our procedures that were in place and question, like, why do we do that? Do we need to do that? Or we change completely, go to the other direction. But it was to really make our process, make them make more sense for our business and free us up so that we could spend more time, like earlier, about engaging our work. So overall, it It wasn't every day wasn't a rosy day. I'll be honest. There was hiccups and things happen, and you don't know the system well, and but it finds itself out in the end, and we're to 2017 as we get to know the system more and really get ingrained in all the functionality of it. And 2017 really is going to be our first real year of everything implemented, and so we're really excited to see the well-oiled engine, as you will, once it's all in place. So.
You said something there that sparked a thought, and it's not every day is roses, right? But I think what we find that these successful implementations really start with open, transparent communication, right, between not only yourself, your systems integration partner, but with Oracle as well. You talked early on about your customer or implementation success manager from Oracle that's part of the overall implementation effort. That's a very vital role in all of these deployments. So really having those lines of communication every day as you're going through this process and working together as a team to achieve the goals that have been set out. I think before we open it up for questions real quick, I just want to leave you with some contact information really on all different fronts here. There's the eVerge group information as far as the website, phone number, and email address that you can reach us at. And I think we're always open to performing business process assessments. If you're an existing HCM Cloud customer, you're looking to maybe enhance some existing functionality you have or uptake some new functionality, obviously we're happy to come talk with you about that. We will perform free discovery and implementation workshops. If you're considering HCM Cloud solution, we'd be happy to come in and kind of help you think about different paths around strategy and to deploy the application. So we're happy to do that for charge. And then also from an Oracle perspective, right, if you want to see product demonstrations or maybe have a value assessment performed, which will produce a great ROI that can be shared with executive leadership, Oracle's happy to jump in and perform those activities as well. So with that, thank you very much. Definitely want to open this up for questions. I did have one question in chat that I saw about what level of support from your implementation vendor have you needed post-go live? So I'll let the HAPO team address that and maybe talk a little bit about, the value of knowledge transfer during implementation. How much are you able to support on your own, just from an ongoing daily administrative maintenance perspective, and maybe compare that with annual processing events and just kind of talk about support?
We have had something we come across, like I mentioned earlier with the testing scripts, so many of whether we have to go in and create a new job code or a new department or a division in which, like I mentioned, we're going to be opening our commercial lending division. We had to go in and create that. Well, that's kind of an anomaly. You don't do that all the time. But we found the directions in our test scripts. We always try to go do it first on our own because we think we learn better that way. But whenever we got stuck or needed something, it was a quick email. Hey, can we set up a time to talk? And the time was always made available. We were walked through seamlessly pretty much to do it. Sometimes also, actually, Gortza could probably talk a little bit about our payroll. That's a big, obviously. We want to make sure our employees get paid and it's accurate and it's on time. So when we first implemented payroll, I think she can talk a little bit about the paralleling and how that went.
Yeah, we ran 2 parallels before we actually went live January 1st of 2016, and we actually had an eVerge individual come out for our second parallel, and they were absolutely wonderful, very knowledgeable as far as what we need to compare, and it was very nice. Very nice. It was apparent to see that our old system wasn't able to keep up with our growth because we were finding things that it was calculating wrong versus so it wasn't comparing essentially apples to apples, but obviously Oracle was the correct way to do it. The other thing I was going to mention too is if you can't, and not that this happens often, but if you have just a simple question that you need answered, where maybe you don't need the involvement of your implementation team, you can actually go on the Oracle knowledge base, and it has a lot of information in there. You can just search a keyword, and it pops up PDF files that will tell you where to go, how to run scripts. I mean, I've also been able to just email an eVerge that I need, and they've been able to get back to me fairly quickly. I mean, they've been absolutely wonderful. So, and the opening of service requests in Oracle, which is also on the Oracle Support Cloud, that's a very easy process. It's very easy to do, and they are very, very quick to get back to you.
Here, tell us about the amount of effort that you put to upgrades.
You're talking about the amount of effort put in to, start our HR core upgrade to Oracle.
Yeah, I would assume it's the annual, but the application release upgrades from re-release and.
R11. Okay.
I'll actually talk a little bit to the R11 upgrade. That was, again, the first major upgrade that we went through. We were still in our testing pods and our development pod doing things, plus had live going on. So we actually, again, partnered with eVerge, and they helped us through that initial R11 upgrade so that we kind of knew how and what to expect with upgrades, what's that again? 2 parallels during that time. Oracle was very specific on what was being updated because some of the look of the system changed, and that's part of being innovative, and change is good, and updating new functionality or requests have come through from other clients as well that they've implemented. But I would say it was for us because the major one, like I said, we partnered with eVerge to do it. So the next one, also another thing Oracle does is they provide you with a guide. They tell you these are the things you need to do when, kind of like a timeline, to get ready for these upgrades. And so that's really helpful as well.
Were there any questions? Any audio questions?
Reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask an audio question, you may do it by pressing star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, that's star 1. And this time.
No further questions. Definitely want to thank you, and the HAPO Community Credit Union team wants to thank you for your time today, and we appreciate it.
Yes,
thank you.
This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.